Hey guys, welcome back to Cough Country. This is Steve with your cannabis news. It's good to see you. How you been? Did you lose weight? Let's just get into the news. What do you think? Today we start off by stepping into the shoes of a Ukrainian soldier and exploring how cannabis helps veterans with their PTSD. Then we go over to WhistlePig, a whiskey distillery that's got something to offer everybody this dry January. And finally, we head over to the Netherlands that for the first time in Europe is exploring legal cannabis. And no, cannabis was not legal in Amsterdam, and the Dutch Donald Trump wants to keep it that way. We got all that and more coming right now on Cough Country News. Don't go anywhere. It's coming right now.
No sticks, no seeds, just news.
From the Cough Country News Desk, it's Steve with your cannabis news.
Ukraine is one of the epicenters of PTSD in the world. They've been living, working, and breathing under invasion for almost 2 years, so it's no wonder they're saying 57% of the population is at risk. Well, they finally legalized medical cannabis late last year, real last minute, in a bid to help treat the rampant PTSD from the ongoing war. But Ukraine isn't the only country looking into cannabis as a treatment for PTSD. In the U.S., all sorts of groups and studies have found that cannabis helps veterans manage their symptoms. So why are more and more veterans looking to good old Mary J to help them calm their nerves and help them recover? What does cannabis do for someone suffering from PTSD? Now remember, PTSD is a tricky disorder. It manifests in different people in all sorts of different ways, and no one really knows why some people get it and some people don't. But if you're going to give a loose definition, you might say that PTSD is a crippling stress response to a traumatic event that interferes with your ability to function in daily life, right? So if you want to know what cannabis can do for these veterans, you have to look at what they're dealing with. Unwanted or intrusive thoughts, things, you can't turn off, nightmares, not sleeping. They call it heightened arousal symptoms, quick to anger, irritability, heavy, persistent feelings of guilt and shame, easily startled. This is where negative thoughts and emotions can become dominant, interfering with life, even causing physical pain like chronic headaches and muscle tension. And a lot of this reaction falls under the endocannabinoid system in the body, which has a lot to do with regulating emotions. Now, cannabis's ability to interact with the endocannabinoid system makes it a great tool to help change those patterns. It's help with sleep and anti-anxiety, help subdue symptoms and allow people to recover. But Ukraine only managed to pass medical cannabis in December after years of dragging it through government. So until recently, like much of the rest of the world, cannabis has been stupidly illegal. And scientists don't get to study illegal things, do they? So much science needs to be done before we really understand what cannabis has to offer here. And truth be told, we're mostly guessing at what it can do to help. Prohibition has kept us in the dark, and the little light we're beginning to find is only showing us just how much more we have left to learn about this plant. Guys, we're going to take a word from our sponsor real quick. Check them out, support them, and we'll be back with more news for you in just a second. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Welcome back. Folks, the Monday of the year is here, and people are leaning into the gloom, committing to dry January like TikTok told them to do it. Now, for most people, it's a month where they commit to abstaining from alcohol, that's then followed by a month of relearning why we stopped drinking in the first place. Now, some people are going Cali sober, choosing weed over alcohol to help the process along, but if you're going full tilt, cutting out cannabis too, WhistlePig, a distillery in Vermont that makes some of the best rye whiskeys around, wants to make sure that you can still have a dank January. They're releasing a zero-proof bottled cocktail called the Dank and Dry Old Fashioned, and they're blowing minds doing it. It's an old fashioned that for the first time ever replaces the alcohol with cannabis-derived terpenes. They take their 100% rye non-whiskey, a whiskey aged for 6 years and then undistilled to 0% ABV, mix in some barrel-aged maple syrup, then in the coolest move ever, blend in actual terpenes extracted from cannabis grown in whiskey barrels. Will it get you high? No, it's not psychoactive. There's no THC in there, just the terpenes that give marijuana its smell and taste. And terpenes offer a new frontier of flavor, said Megan Ireland, the head blender, that we couldn't resist experimenting with, and the results are fire. Those terpenes add that hazy aroma and toasty mouthfeel that are often missing from non-alcoholic spirits. So, we all know that weed is legal in Amsterdam, right? Wrong, sir, you are wrong. Cannabis is still very much illegal in the Netherlands, but don't you cry, my sweet little angel, because before long, it's gonna be. The Netherlands just started a landmark 4-year experiment supplying legal cannabis to the country's famous coffee shops in what some are calling a fall of the Berlin Wall moment for cannabis. Officials have approved 2 growers to supply legal cannabis to shops in 2 cities, Breda and Tilburg, at least for now. And as the experiment goes on, it'll embrace 10 growers supplying 11 jurisdictions, including Amsterdam. And the big improvement here is the transparency. Customers know what they are getting and where it's coming from. In a black market, you have black market problems. No one knows where the cannabis comes from, its quality, its potency. Are there pesticides, bugs, mold, growth, and sales will be regulated to health and safety standards. It'll be packaged with health warnings, strength information, even a little QR code that'll show you how and where it was grown. Just freaking adorable. But whoa, back up there, killer. So it's been legal this whole time? You're kidding me, right? Then why did my friend in college go to Amsterdam just to smoke weed? They sell it in coffee shops, for God's sakes. Yes, marijuana is illegal to grow, possess, or sell, and has been for a long time. But in the 70s, with the rise of things like heroin and cocaine, the government began to acknowledge the difference between hard drugs and soft drugs and adopted an unofficial policy of tolerance for cannabis use. So while cannabis remained illegal, the police decided they would focus their efforts on policing harder drugs and large-scale dealing. They don't worry about personal use. As long as the coffee shops follow a certain set of rules, the police are going to leave them alone. But they do still police growth and production. So coffee shops can sell the weed, but no one's allowed to produce it. So production has to stay in the underground, in the hands of organized crimes, and no one knows what they're smoking or if it's clean product. And that's why bringing this €1 billion industry out of the black market in Europe, which has been slow to embrace cannabis in the first place, is a pretty big deal. This experiment will show the Dutch and everyone else what a legal, regulated market can do for a black market industry. However, even with their historically chill cannabis policy, there's a strong conservative movement in the government, and the far-right Party for Freedom just won 37 seats in parliament. Geert Wilder heads the party, who some people call the Dutch Donald Trump because of his shocking and blunt rhetoric. And that actually, he got banned from the UK at one point for this. He's trying to ban Islam, withdraw previous apologies for historic slavery, and institute a zero-tolerance policy for street scum. Yeah, that's an actual quote. And he ran on the promise of a drug-free Netherlands and rolled back that tolerance policy. And the danger is, at the end of the 4-year experiment, he could just decide that it didn't work after all, and no matter what the data says, scrap the whole thing. Guys, thanks so much for checking us out. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Tell a friend, make them subscribe. You're not going to want to miss what we have coming up for you next week. And be sure to check us out next time on Cough Country News, where it's always no sticks, no seeds, just news, baby.